The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the Sports Guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report, a lazy Friday here in Southern California. If you missed part one of this two-part extravaganza, we had Dan Barry from the New York Times who wrote a book called Bottom of the 33rd about the Pawtucket Red Sox and a 33-inning game that they had in 1981. And now we are about to call a diehard Yankee fan, my buddy. He hasn't been on in a while. We're going to bust his balls because the Red Sox have a 1.5 game lead over the Yankees. Jacko, we're calling him right now.
Complex Litigation, this is John.
This is AC. I got OJ in the car. You know who this is, goddammit?
Awesome, the O.J. Simpson reference.
17 years ago today, Johnny.
Oh, is today the anniversary?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. I did not realize that.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
The NBA, that wasn't even the NBA, well, it was the NBA Finals. I was thinking it was the Eastern Conference, but it was
the NBA Finals.
Knicks Rockets.
Mr. Simpson did not report to the LAPD. Currently, Mr. Simpson is still at large.
Unbelievable.
What a great day.
An incredible moment. It can't even be summed up. That probably was the beginning of our current era, really, what don't you think, in terms of, like, you know, the saturation of media and everything and the way things are now. That's when it all really began. Yeah,
I think it really told everybody that we needed the internet.
Yeah.
There was no way to consume everything that was going on for the next 18 months. We needed a computer that would help us.
Al Gore really upped his efforts right after that, so they've got to get going on this internet thing.
That's when Al Gore went to all his computer technicians, and he said, guys, we got to step this up right now.
Got to amp it up, fellas. Come on.
So we weren't together that night, I don't think. I know I was in Portchester, New York, at my buddy Jim Grady's house.
Right.
We had planned to go out, and we never made it because it turned out to be one of the great TV nights ever.
It was riveting. We were together a couple of days before when we went on a cruise around the Boston Harbor with the Holy Cross Club of Boston or something.
Oh, yeah.
And
that was a good cruise for me.
I was driving home, yes. I was driving home, and I got stuck in murderous traffic to the point of where people were turning their cars off. Yeah. And it was on the radio that that's when they had just announced the warrant for his arrest was that day, which was a couple days before, or a day or so before the chase.
Wow.
Good times.
I can't. On the one hand, it's hard to believe it was 17 years ago.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I feel like I can remember just a ton of it.
I can't believe that it's this late in the day today, and this is the first that I've heard of it. I didn't see anything on the internet. No one else has pointed it out to me. So.
Well, I guess 17 isn't really a big anniversary, but I do feel like it should be. I think it should be OJ Day.
Let's try to get together 3 years from now for the 20th, or should we save it for the 25 for the silver anniversary?
That's cool. We could have a waiter deliver my glasses. Really push it over the top.
Oh, my God.
Wait, come on. Tell me, that's staying in. That's a good joke. Come on.
Does that restaurant still exist in L.A., Mezzaluna?
No, that is long gone. OJ's house is long gone.
I knew his house was gone, but...
And if you bring up the OJ thing to anybody in Brentwood, they just get mad because Brentwood's made a big comeback and they've tried to distance themselves. I learned that when I moved out here. You don't bring up OJ to anyone who lives in Brentwood.
Really?
It just makes them mad. They're like, where do you live? Oh, I live in Brentwood. Oh, OJ! And they're like, yeah, right.
No, they just walk you. Yeah, punch you in the face.
Let's talk about...
Oh, boy.
The biggest juggernaut in baseball.
Oh, boy.
An offense that, frankly, I think we dropped the 27 Yankees, and we just go right to the 2011 Red Sox.
My link to the Nesson article about the comparisons between the 2011 Red Sox and the 27 Yankees now doesn't even hold up from a Yankee perspective.
No, I think they're a little late.
Exactly. That guy didn't know how prescient he was.
I don't think Gehrig and Ruth can really compare to Gonzo and Big Papi at this point.
No. I just hope that I can live long enough to see the book that will be written about the rampant steroids that are being used.
Oh, Johnny, no!
The resurgence of Big Papi, known steroid user. Of course, speaking of OJ, he's still out looking for the real supplement, kind of like OJ is looking for the real killer.
Oh, my God.
I mean, come on. At this stage in his career, when he's, first of all, they got him off the scrap heap 10 years ago or whatever it was, and he was, about to go back to the Dominican, and then suddenly he becomes one of the most fearsome hitters in baseball. And then he's ready for the scrap heap again, not getting any younger. There's talk about, do we waive him or, do we bench him? And people are holding up signs about how he needs a hug. And now you can't get the guy out. I mean, it's just unbelievable to me. It's unbelievable.
All right, we should mention that the comments of Jacko did not reflect the comments of the BS Report or ESPN in general. These are your comments as a fan.
Absolutely.
You feel like Mr. Ortiz...
Just rank speculation, obviously, right.
You feel like Mr. Ortiz has maybe achieved statistical success in means beyond his own human.
And of course, I'm
abilities.
suggesting it tongue in cheek because they have testing in baseball, and I just, as a Yankee fan, I have to hang my hat on some sort of bitterness.
So you can't really compare it to a situation like, say, had Mr. Ortiz gone to South America and had stem cells injected into a damaged part of his body, and then miraculously regained the ability to throw 97 miles an hour.
Well, Bill, see,
we can't compare those two things, right?
Medical science is always advancing, Bill, and amazing things happen with surgeons, and sometimes, like when Louis Pasteur discovered found penicillin, people at the time probably thought it was witchcraft or something illegal or crazy. Similar things happen with Bartolo Colon's doctor, and who am I to suggest that medical science shouldn't advance and move forward in the 21st century?
Sure.
Absolutely.
That's a really good defense.
Absolutely.
Can I just say something in Big Papi's defense?
Sure.
He's never really... This isn't like a Manny Ramirez thing. He never failed a test. His name was leaked to be on some random list that nobody's ever even seen the complete list, and nobody even knows if that story is true. He said it wasn't. Nobody's come up with any more evidence.
Did he sue anybody? Did he sue anybody for libel or slander, or so that the truth could come out? When his good name was sullied by links to a cheating scandal?
All right, but who leaked that story? The New York Times?
I think so, yes.
They said that his name was on that list, but...
Right, and he claims it was for some supplement that, because apparently whatever the super secret list of people out of the 50 or 100, or these numbers are lost to me now, but there was some number of people on there who were on there because there was some supplement that wasn't kosher in terms of Major League Baseball, and it wasn't like blatant, enubarbitol or whatever steroid it was. It was just like in the Olympics, if you take, Sudafed or something, it come up as a test because sometimes Sudafed is used, I'm just making up the Sudafed reference, but something over the counter could be used as a masking agent for steroids. So if you took the masking agent, you would have to give back your medals too. It was one of those deals where it wasn't necessarily a steroid, but it could have been that he took a Zyrtec that day and it showed up on the list. Now that's never been proven. He just let people believe, or his lawyer let people believe, well, he could have been one of those 5 and not one of the 95 who took outright steroids.
It's a fair defense.
Sure, because it's couched enough. It's like the Anthony Weiner, somebody hacked into my system. It has enough basis and plausibility that if you want to believe it, if you're looking for a reason to believe, you could latch onto that.
I think that's totally different because ultimately we can look at Anthony Weiner's real junk versus the fake junk.
Yeah, but the same thing is true for his. If the real list ever came out, you could see what he tested for.
Okay, but it hasn't come out.
Right.
I'm willing to give the guy who brought the Red Sox...
If he was a Yankee, I'd be saying the same thing you're saying, so I can't really, The real problem is if the Yankees have to back him off the plate. And, I mean, this last series when I was so inflamed that second game, as my Twitter followers will attest.
Yeah.
When the Yankees... After he hits home runs and he stands up there leaning over the plate as comfortable as the day is long, how the Yankees, and I understand in the era of Joe Torre, well, we couldn't do that because that wasn't the Yankee way and it wasn't dignified, even though they put Jeter and Kareem Garcia in the hospital in the past and hit Jeter like a target.
We love to throw at the Yankees.
Absolutely, but we couldn't do it because it was the Yankee way. But now Girardi is supposed to be a hard-nosed guy. Poppy hits a home run and stands there, flips the bat, does a 360-degree Michael Jackson Thriller spin and before rounding the bases. And the next night when A.J. Burnett has him down 0-2, a perfect chance to put one in his ear, just put one up inside, buzz his power, don't let him get quite so comfortable there. What does A.J. Burnett do? He runs the count to 3-2 and grooves one over the plate so Big Poppy can hit another one into the bleachers.
I loved it.
Disgusted me. I mean, absolutely disgusted me. I mean, you have to dust him off there, and not so much to hit him because he hit a home run or that. There's part of that, but the other part is just to keep him honest and show him you can't get comfortable there at the plate. Back him off a little bit. Get him a little jumpy.
You could be talking about the Boston Celtics in round 2 against Miami right now. Same thing.
Yeah.
Hard fouls, brush guys off the plate. They go hand in hand.
Right, absolutely. You got to play a little rough. Like go down swinging at least. You know, I mean, God Almighty, just to like take it and be like, well, I have to tip my cap to you, Poppy. Good swing. You know, makes me freaking sick.
Well, I'll tell you with the Red Sox, Ortiz, no proof.
No,
might not have cheated.
I know.
Manny, listen, in the world that I live in, Manny didn't do anything until he went to the Dodgers.
Right.
He got corrupted by the LA lifestyle.
Absolutely. The fast lane of LA.
Let me throw some stats at you, though, John.
It's the plot of every Behind the Music. That's what happened to Manny.
2008, Ortiz started out, he hit 198, 300 on base, 375 slugging in April. From there, he was fine. His next month, he's 1.02 OPS, et cetera, et cetera. 2009, downloading on my computer, also started out really slow, April, May, 230, 143. Then really rallied back and had a good June, July, August, September.
Huge second half, yep.
2010, last year.
Yeah.
Bad first month, hit 143, looked done. Rest of the year was great. Ended up, his total stats for the season were 270, 370 on base, 529 slugging. When you consider that his first month was 143, 238 on base, 286 slugging. Pretty amazing that he ended up where he did. 2011, he's been good the whole season. So you could make I know the Yankee fans love to make the case that, oh my God, clearly he's doing stuff. But even this year, he had the 395 slugging in April, May 694, June 771. Just 4 straight really bad Aprils, and then he got better as the season went along.
Even this April, though, like he started off hot, and then he had a swoon.
I know, but I'm just saying, there was 4 straight Aprils where April was the worst month of the 6 months he had. And then you know what we know about some of the Latin players. They like when it's warmer. They talk about that.
It was a cold April back east, but as a Yankee fan,
I think this is all legitimate.
I'm going to look at things with a jaundiced eye when it comes to the Red Sox. Clearly, I'm not really going to give them the benefit of the doubt, obviously. And since they've rolled over the Yankees 8 out of 9. If I don't have my bitterness and hate and vitriol to cling to, what do I have? I've got nothing. That's what I've got. So at least let me have that.
The other thing in June, he's just been crushing it. He's already at 17 RBI. Although everyone says RBI.
Well, he and Adrian Gonzalez now are the Manny and him of 7 years ago.
Well, I was getting to that. Like he's on pace for 10 homers, 35 RBI or something, 771 slugging. And I really think the reason is the pitchers are just starting to get a little freaked out because it's like you got Gonzo, you got Uke, you got Ortiz. You can see it as soon as they're coming around to the top of the order. It's like, oh crap, these guys are coming up again. And that's the main thing Gonzalez did for this team was this. They didn't have that one guy that was always in the back of the pitcher's head. That guy's coming up. He's 3 away. I got to get these guys out because that guy, and he's changed the offense.
I mean, that's been the Yankees' biggest problem, really. The 2 biggest problems they've had in the past 10 years is that, 1, they don't own the commissioner, and 2, there's none of Brian Cashman's deputies that have taken over other teams and then just given the best players away to the Red Sox.
Oh!
That's the biggest problem.
Johnny!
The Yankees need to spend some money buying a commissioner and then putting their deputies as GMs of other teams. That's what they need to do. That's the plan that needs to be followed. That's the blueprint.
I'm going to defend the Gonzalez trade.
You're very defensive today.
I'm going to defend it. Listen, that Gonzalez trade, they gave up a guy named Anthony Rizzo who emerged over the winter and this spring as one of the top prospects in baseball and just got called up.
Really?
That trade the Padres would make that trade again.
Really? Sure.
Rizzo is in the lineup every day batting cleanup, I think.
I can't wait to be bouncing my grandkids on my knees saying I was able to see the great Anthony Rizzo play.
That's it. I'm calling up Keith Law's top prospects. Top prospects. All right. Well, anyway.
And then Anthony Rizzo strode to the plate. Come on.
It's a great name.
I don't even know. Is he a pitcher? I don't even know what Anthony Rizzo plays.
Stop it. Why are you doing this, Johnny? Just grasping for straws. Tell me about the Yanks. Granderson.
The Grandy
if you're going to talk about, if we're going to throw the PED We're going to smear players with PEDs.
Oh, my, come on.
Can we talk about Curtis Granderson?
Guy's a model citizen.
He's on pace for 50 homer season.
Come on. He hit a lot of home runs in Detroit. He wasn't comfortable in New York. He's just getting comfortable there.
Oh,
now.
Is that what it was? He wasn't comfortable?
He's getting comfortable in New York now. He knows
I didn't realize he
teammates.
wasn't comfortable. I had no idea.
Knows the clubhouse, knows the field, the angles, the stadium, sure. Got familiar with pitchers and those teammates, sure.
Didn't realize it was that simple. It's just not being quite comfortable yet. Listen, I think it's totally realistic that he's going to hit 50 homers.
He and Mr. Mom are like the Mantle and Maris of our generation.
Yeah, Keith Law had Rizzo just a couple weeks ago ranked as the 17th prospect in baseball.
Really?
He was hitting 410, 500 on base, and almost 800 slugging in AAA, and he's only 20, and he turns 21 or 22 in August. Johnny, that's a real prospect. You can't kill that trade.
I would totally give up a guy that has 61 RBIs and is hitting 350 for him. Totally. Absolutely.
They couldn't pay him. He would have cost half the team.
Where can I sign up?
They get 10,000 fans a game. What's he going to do? He's going to give Adrian Gonzalez, he's going to make half the money in the team?
Yeah, sure. You got to sell tickets. He's a hero out in San Diego. He's a local boy. Come on. You're going to lose with him. You're going to lose without him. You might as well lose with him. Get some fans in there. Adrian Gonzalez bobblehead. Sell some merchandise.
Consider they also got Casey Kelly in that trade as a top pitching prospect. I think the Padres do that trade again. I do. I really do. I think their fans even, this is one of the interesting things that's happened in baseball is that the fans are so much smarter now than they were 10 years ago. Like 10 years ago, if you said, hey, guys, we're going to trade Adrian Gonzalez to the Red Sox, and they gave us some minor leaguers back, people would flip out.
Yeah.
But
there
now
would have been Vancouver-level riots there.
Yeah. But now people see...
Too soon?
Yeah, too soon. A little too soon. Maybe a little uneasy. Still picking guys off the street. But
well,
go ahead.
still cleaning up, yeah.
You went there. I think nowadays... especially because of the internet, and and because you can follow these guys in AA, AAA. I mean, in my League of Dorks team, I'm following every guy we have in our minor league system. I have all bookmarks for their Google. I can Google how their week's going. I knew Dustin Ackley was going to get called up before he got called up. Like, it's just
it's changed things. If you really want to be into it, you can totally be into it and follow every prospect for years. You could have your Anthony Rizzo jersey all ready for when he gets called up. Know what number he's going to wear. Sure. 2 Z's, everything.
Killing Anthony Rizzo.
I know. I'm gonna get a lot of tweets from the Anthony Rizzo fan club. No doubt about it.
I thought out of anybody, you would really enjoy anybody who is a baseball player named Anthony Rizzo.
His nickname has to be Ratso, right?
Ratso Rizzo?
Yeah, from Midnight Cowboy.
Oh yeah,
Dustin
going way back. Maybe
not. Maybe that's a little too esoteric for the fans.
Well, I wanted to tell you, since you don't follow prospects and you apparently don't care, on the Keith Law list, he's got Mike Trout of the Angels, number 1. Bryce Harper of Washington, number 2.
He's number 2, not number 1. Interesting.
No, Mike Trout's been people like Bryce Harper might be a little loony.
Yeah, a little too.
Might be smishes there. Number 3,
blowing kisses to pitchers and stuff. Yeah.
Number 3, your own Jesus Montero.
Nice, yeah. He's been a prospect for a few years now.
Yeah. At some point, though, and you got number 8, Manny Banuelos.
Yes, he's a pitcher. I know that. And Montero, the problem with Montero is they don't have a position for him because he's not a very good catcher.
Yeah, that makes me a little worried.
They have a better defense. I actually know some of the Yankees prospects. They have a better defensive catcher, Austin Romine.
And they also have Gary Sanchez.
Yeah, they have a lot of catchers, so they have a lot of catching prospects which they could deal for people. But the problem with Montero is nobody likes him as a catcher. They figure he's a DH or a first baseman.
You have one of your best prospects, Gary Sanchez, is the ironic name of Will Ferrell and Adam McKay's production company that they named like 6 years ago.
Gary Sanchez?
Yeah, their company's called Gary Sanchez Productions.
Really?
They named it that way because they thought it was a funny name, and that's actually this guy's name.
Wow, Gary Sanchez. Yeah, because it is funny. It doesn't seem like it would go together.
No. Yeah, usually the name Gary doesn't go with a lot.
No.
Especially the Latino. So you're a game and a half behind the Red Sox.
Yes.
One team's going in one direction. The other team seems to be treading water.
The Yanks have played well except for the Red Sox series, though.
Except for when the Red Sox.
That's like saying, except for that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? I know, but I mean, they've played. I mean, they just swept the Rangers with a guy that they pulled off the scrap heap pitching for him yesterday.
Yeah, I was
There were some
surprised by
signs.
that.
They scored 12 runs against a guy that was 7-0 with a low ERA coming in. And the Rangers are no joke. I mean, they're a legit team. The Yanks owned them at home.
The Rangers were on fire going into that series.
Yeah, and I figured, it was going to be Katie bar the door after the Red Sox left town, and then Texas is rolling in, and the Yanks won 3 out of 4 against Cleveland. Granted, no astronomical accomplishment because they're falling apart, but you got to win the games, you got to play. They rebounded after the Red Sox thing, so they're playing all right. I mean, I guess you could argue it either way. Like, you could argue it that the Red Sox were 2-10, so if the Yankees had just handled them even a little bit, like played 500 against them, they would still be in trouble. Not necessarily in trouble, but not as good as they expected it to be. And you could look at it from the other side and say, the Red Sox are 12, 13 games over, and they're 8-1 against the Yankees. Where would they be otherwise? And the Yankees are only a game and a half out, having lost 8 out of 9 games to the Red Sox. So maybe all is not a lost cause.
You know what, Johnny? I was really busy last week because we were launching the website, and I was
NBA
in the finals. I was traveling. I flew back to Boston. Let me look. I just want to see how those games went. June 7th. Red Sox. You're right. June 8th. Yeah, you're right. The Red Sox won those 3 games. I'm just 6-4, 11-6, 8-3. Yeah. Good call. They didn't forgot that.
They did. Yeah. Exactly. A.J. Burnett was so good against the Red Sox when he was in Toronto, which is the reason he got $82 million from the Yankees, and he's been abysmal against them in the pinstripes. It's just, I don't know. I mean,
he's your number 2 pitcher, so.
I mean, 1-8. I mean, for God's sake. God almighty. Now I'm bummed out again.
You have the random Phil Hughes. We talked about it the last time on the podcast, but I think the Bartolo, the Terminator Colon, coming back kind of did what you expected Phil Hughes to do, so that canceled out.
Right.
Nova, who is on my League of Dorks team.
The roller coaster.
Who somehow thrown 150 innings and has 30 strikeouts. It's not that bad, but it's just, as you said, he puts the ball in play.
That's right. He's going to use his fielders.
To the delight of the other team.
Keep them in the game, sure.
But it does seem like their starting pitcher short, and as you pointed out earlier, they're loaded with catching prospects. Kind of feels like we're headed toward a trade here.
I hope so. Let's hope.
What are the rumors?
I don't know. That's the problem. I haven't really heard anything, which maybe is good because I think one of the problems they have is it always gets leaked that the Yankees are involved on somebody.
Yeah.
And then 14 teams jump in, and then the price goes up, and then they end up not getting Cliff Lee. He goes to the Mariners, a la last year. So maybe it's good that it's quiet. I mean, there was earlier rumors of a Felix Hernandez, and then the Mariners would say, well, you have to take Ichiro's contract.
Yeah.
Which would be fine because I love Nick Swisher. He seems like a good clubhouse guy and what have you, but I'm not sure he's a major league hitter anymore. And I don't know that Granderson is enormous, but corner outfielders of Brett Gardner and Nick Swisher, I don't think give you enough pop and enough offense.
If I were the Yankees or any other team in contention, I would be trying to do these greasy backdoor deals with Frank McCourt.
Oh, yeah, because he needs the money.
Oh, yeah, I'd be like, hey, Frank, I'm looking at it. Who's the number 1 Dodger pitcher?
We'll wire some money to one of your offshore accounts that your wife can't touch.
Kuroda. Yeah, Kuroda's like a guy they could trade. Or Ted Lilly. Hey, Frank, we'll trade you one of our prospects for Kuroda, and we'll wire you $20 million.
Exactly.
Make a payroll this month.
Your wife won't touch it.
Yeah. We have an offshore account in Cancun.
We'll put it in the name Gary Sanchez. The password is Gary Sanchez to get it out.
Remember when we were kids when Charlie O'Finley traded?
Yes.
He traded Joe Rudy and Raleigh Fingers to the Red Sox.
Right.
And then he traded somebody else really good to the Yankees.
I should know who it was.
Claudio Washington?
No.
Vita Blue?
Might have been Vita Blue.
And he got $6 million for everybody. And it actually should have been legal, and Major League Baseball threw their bodies in front of it.
Yeah, Bowie Kuhn put the kibosh on that. That's why now anytime there's a trade and there's over $1 million exchanged, the commissioner has to approve it.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah, totally.
And it became this iconic Red Sox moment because Rudy and Fingers were in the clubhouse and they didn't play. And had they played, they would have had to approve the deal.
Right.
And because the Red Sox were like, hey, just put on the uniforms, hang out in the dugout. We didn't get those guys. We had Raleigh Fingers and Joe Rudy.
The clubhouse guy was still sewing their number on the jersey or something.
Yeah. The jersey's not ready yet. Yeah. So
it's probably a good rule because otherwise the Yankees would have 37 World Series instead of 27. Steinbrenner would have just outright bought people, like, even more so than he arguably did. So
let's talk about this Jeter thing.
This Jeter thing.
Well, it's kind of the elephant in the room, Johnny.
Yeah.
He was 6 away.
Yes.
People thought there might be a chance. Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Kind of like the symbolism of Jeter getting 3,000 in Wrigley Field, limping around the bases.
Well, the thing they wanted was, he wanted, and everybody wanted, was to do it at Yankee Stadium. That's what they were really shooting for.
Wrigley would have been fun, though.
Yeah, Wrigley would have been a good second choice, though. Yeah.
Well, he's up to 260.
Yeah, he's looked better.
Good. On base, maybe not where you want it to be. It's getting on base 32% of the time.
Yeah, not what we're looking for, no question.
Slugging's a little bit of a problem.
What's that, about 50?
324.
Yeah, a little scarce.
Yeah.
A little scanty.
Good thing for him that Francisco Cervelli is on the team with his 278 slugging, or else Jeter would be bringing up the bottom.
Yeah, not a lot of extra base hits for the captain.
In retrospect, would you have given him the contract?
Yeah, well, I still would have, because you're paying him for past performance.
Okay.
You can make an argument now, and of course I was like the last guy out of the bunker on this, or one of the last. Like, you can certainly make the argument, and I understand that he should not be the shortstop, and that he should not be batting where he's batting, that he should be farther down in the order.
Yep.
I totally get that, and I've come around to that conclusion, that unavoidable conclusion. But I still would have given him the money, because the money means nothing to the Yankees. It's like they have a license to print money. So even if you're paying him and you have to eat some money, it's not like they have a budget. Allegedly they do, but nobody believes that. So it's not like they really have a budget, and he was owed that for past performance. The guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. $45 million is not going to kill the Yankees by any stretch.
That was an emotional defense, Johnny.
And he brings in more than that for the team anyway, in terms of merchandise and memorabilia and what have you. So maybe not as much, but they're knocking on the door.
Mugambo.
Yeah.
I have a friend. I won't name him, but because he's involved with the NBA. He is convinced that the biggest mistake the Knicks made during the LeBron chase, he said they should have just gone into a room and, with whoever their inner circle was when they were doing the pitch, and Jeter should have been like one of the four guys.
Is LeBron a big Jeter guy? I know he's allegedly a Yankee fan.
LeBron is apparently a real Yankee fan.
Really?
And all Jeter, nobody else would have talked, and it just would have been Jeter. And for like a half hour, Jeter just would have explained to LeBron what it's like to play in New York, what it means, what it's like to own the city, how there's no other city like this, how if you win a championship there, you're immortal. And it just basically would have been like a Derek Jeter inspirational sports movie speech.
See?
And my friend says that if they had played it that way, LeBron signs.
Wow, he would have taken his talents to Broadway.
Because who knows better than what it's like to succeed in New York City than Derek Jeter? Like,
right.
You literally you can't find another parallel to what would have happened to LeBron than the Jeter thing.
Right.
It's really interesting, though. I really wonder if that would have worked.
That's interesting. I know LeBron wears the Yankee hat, and he took grief for it. Got caught grief for it when he was in Cleveland, and he went to the game, and then when they were in the playoffs, and he was wearing a Yankees hat. But I didn't know if that was just like an affectation or for fashion or something.
No, he really is. Well, here's what the Knicks did instead.
They brought in Ed Whitson.
They had James Dolan.
Yeah.
By all accounts, one of the most socially awkward owners in any sport. Then they had Donnie Walsh, who was in a wheelchair.
And a neck brace, I believe.
And Donnie Walsh's male attendant.
Come on.
I swear to God.
Like his nurse?
Like his nurse, because he had just
had
like a major surgery.
Oh my God.
Donnie Walsh gets wheeled in by his male nurse, along with James Dolan and like whoever, I think Scott O'Neill was in there because he runs MSG and
the only thing that would make it funnier is if he, because of the surgery or the medication, Donnie Walsh couldn't talk and he had to communicate like Stephen Hawking. Please come to New York.
Well, the other interesting thing about this, there's always people think that athletes have like a weird superstition about being around injured people.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Like the injury will rub off on you?
Yeah. That's
why injured guys don't travel with the team?
I've had athletes tell me that. I've had people who work in sports tell me that. Athletes don't like to be around sick people or crippled people or injured people, like who did what they did, because it just kind of reminds them of their own mortality. Yeah. And so, the wheelchair thing, I don't know how well that went over. I think maybe it freaked LeBron out a little bit. But athletes are wired in a way where they know that their body is the most important thing that they have, and any sort of karma that could potentially put that body at risk is something that scares them.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, needless to say, a disaster, and that's why he's signed with the Miami Heat.
Did James Dolan give him a mixtape made up of songs about JD and the Straight Shot? Is that a factor too?
I think that might have been a factor against the signing.
You're the only person that pointed out something that I thought, and I swear to God I was going to tweet this, that LeBron James' best friend is named Maverick Carter.
I know.
And they're loose to the Mavericks. Like, does he have to change his nickname now?
It's not good.
LeBron's like, I can't be calling you Maverick Carter. I'm afraid you're going to have to change it.
Yeah.
Now you're Goose instead of Maverick.
Now you're going to be Lou. You're Lou Carter. Yeah, that was weird.
I know, you couldn't make it up. Like, it's the only possible nickname really somebody could have that's a name of an NBA team, right?
Yeah. I never wrote about the Dallas fans. They were pretty fascinating. Like, they were really, 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 really passionate. And they stood, like, 2 of the games, they stood basically the whole second half, and they're really loud, but it was like they didn't totally understand basketball. They were like 83% there, but there'd be these moments, like, there was one game, and it was like pretty deep in the third quarter. LeBron got his third foul, and the announcer was like, "There's fouls on LeBron James. That's his third foul." And the crowd was like, "Ah!"
They thought he only got 4 or something.
Yeah, like he was like one foul away from fouling. Yeah, I was like, "Really? Did you go to explode?"
Did you go to games in Miami too?
I didn't. I did not fan up in Miami.
I was going to say that would have been an interesting description of fans and quote unquote fans in Miami, I think.
Well, the Miami fans had kind of been pushed over the edge because it was a little bit like the Spygate Patriot fans, but a little bit worse, where they, so much vitriol and so much people ridiculing the team and rooting against them, and they're just like, their claws are just out constantly. Hopefully that'll settle down now that they lost.
Maybe they'll bring it next year. They'll really fan up. I gotta say, I was a little disappointed as a casual NBA guy, to say the least. I was a little disappointed in Mark Cuban. I thought he'd be worthy of more craziness.
Yeah.
He didn't really bring it as much as I thought he would, quite frankly. Like, either trash talking through the finals or his reaction after winning, which, as you said, was spoiled because they brought Gene Autry up to get the trophy for some reason. But you were robbed of Stern giving the trophy to him. But I thought he'd be capable of a little bit more, frankly, Cuban.
I was bitterly disappointed. First of all, I thought he'd be crying. Second of all, and I even joked about this in my book, I really expected the Rocky II, where they handed the belt to Rocky and he's crying, "Oh, Adrian!" It's like incoherent. Like, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I also wanted the direct connection between Stern and Cuban because these guys have had such a rocky relationship over the years. I wanted Stern to hand it to him. And all of a sudden, Donald Carter's in there, and it was a nice gesture by Cuban. The guy started the. I get all that stuff, but how about this? Have Donald stand next to you, and you grab the trophy.
Right?
Can we have that, Mark Cuban?
Grab it together, like you get it, and then give it right to him.
The only thing was, Donald Carter. This is terrible, but Donald Carter was so old. I did think we might be headed for a Johnny Kelly Boston Marathon situation.
Oh no!
But the trophy's heavy. It's not light. It's not a 5-pound trophy.
Speaking of the trophy, I was also going to tweet this. I was into the NBA Finals this year. Can we stop calling that thing on Jason Terry's arm the NBA trophy? It's not the NBA trophy. It's a basket with a basketball on it that resembles the shape of the NBA trophy.
Right.
But the NBA trophy is gold in color and metal, and it doesn't have a net on it. Like his tattoo that everybody hyped up on his bicep, it's a basketball on the edge of the basket.
Yeah.
Which is also, yes, the shape of the trophy, but that was not the trophy.
So you're criticizing the choice of the tattoo itself?
Yes.
Or the design of it?
Yes, and the claim that he got the trophy tattooed on his arm, because I think he totally, had the Mavericks lost, could have played it off and said, oh, no, this wasn't like a guarantee. It's not the trophy. That's just a basketball on the hoop.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to commit and get the trophy, like get the gold, right? Am I crazy on this?
I agree with you. When I get a tattoo on my right arm that says Pulitzer,
yes.
I'm going to make it look like the Pulitzer.
The actual Pulitzer.
Like. Yeah.
That's right. Like if you're a recording artist and you want to get a Grammy, and you just get a record player, an old-timey record player.
Yeah.
It's not the Grammys. That's not a Grammy. That's just an old-time record player.
It's a really good observation, Johnny.
Come on.
I mean, no, I'm serious.
Jason Terry needs to. I think he needs to get that fixed in the off season. Now he's got to color it in gold.
I'm now ready to forgive you for your slanderous remarks earlier on David Ortiz. No real concrete proof, and yet you've teamed him into all these other. Guys.
I'm going to move on from that slur against Big Papi. My other observation about the NBA Finals I was going to tweet was that I thought the Heat, their problem was that they ran the hickory high offense at the end, where everybody had to touch the ball. It was like Gene Hackman took over.
4 passes?
4 passes before a shot. I thought that might have been a mistake when you were down 10 with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that analogy, Johnny.
I was so happy the Heat lost, though. I literally was on the edge of my seat, and I couldn't name 3 guys on the Mavericks.
Yeah.
I knew Kidd, and I knew Nowitzki, and I kind of knew about Terry because of the tattoo thing, but beyond that, no clue.
It was the best outcome that the NBA could have had. I said this on a podcast earlier, but it really was like this was season 1 of a drama, and if Miami wins, then the show ends. But Miami lost, so now the NBA has basically renewed the Miami Heat drama for season 2.
Oh, totally, yeah.
It's like when The Killing got renewed. Same thing.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of The Killing.
I'm shocked that you had. I thought for sure you'd be in on The Killing.
You know what my wife, my very pregnant wife and I just watched, because I bought the Blu-ray a few weeks ago, and everybody hyped this, and they were totally right. Justified.
Oh.
Season 1, we just watched it, and now I'm jonesing for season 2. Loved it. Loved Justified.
I almost, when we were at the Peabody Awards, because 30 for 30 won a Peabody, and Justified also won. And, it was mostly like documentary type.
Did you get the Peabody tattooed on you?
I did. That's why I was, thank God. It would have been awkward if we didn't win it. But Justified won, and that guy, Tim Oliphant, was kind of walking around after. And he's got that big smile on his face and just seemed like a good guy. And I almost broke my rule of not approaching celebrities just to be like, hey, Tim Oliphant, what's happening?
Yeah.
But handsome guy, Johnny.
Is he really? Really? Yeah.
I doubted myself for about 3 seconds.
Did you? Yeah, my wife's a fan. I know that.
Yeah. So handsome dude. Got to give it up to the handsome guys.
I like the woman who plays his ex-wife on the show myself. So there's a little something for everybody in Justified. And
they used the guy who used to be one of the cops on The Shield.
Well, the thing is, my wife and I were huge Deadwood fans, and Justified, I don't know if Timothy Oliphant is throwing them a bone or it's just his friends, but there's like 40 people that were in Deadwood were in season 1.
Last thing, and then we'll let you go. The Bruins win the cup.
Yeah.
When we were in college, freshman year, we used to play 2-on-2 street hockey in the dorm hall, which it's amazing nobody lost an eye. When you really look back, you have 4 drunk guys with sticks playing hockey in like a 30 by 5 area.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically. And we made my roommate Gene, his garbage can was a Red Sox garbage can that we called the Stanley Cup.
Right.
And the teams were you and the Blue Boy.
Yes.
And me and Gene. Those were we were like the Canadians and the Bruins.
Right.
And you guys won one of the games.
Well, I need to correct the historical record.
Yeah, correct it, because I don't remember.
The Blue Boy and I were an unstoppable force. I mean, we were like the early 80s Oilers with Gretzky and Messier and Curry. I mean, we could not be beaten. I think like the Oilers, the rules were changed because we were so good that they had to be changed.
I don't remember this part at all. Yeah.
And we would beat all comers, and you tried various partners and various teammates, and you could never get over the hump and beat us, much to your over-competitive chagrin.
I was like Gretzky and the Kings. I just didn't have the supporting cast.
Right.
But I myself was so magnificent I could get us to the finals every year.
You've tried to put the team on your back, but they just wouldn't come along.
It's a team sport, Johnny.
It was a tough sport, and you were trying to go out and you get free agents and try other guys, and I think Gene was where you came closest.
Gene was my roommate, Irish Catholic, just really no fear of his own physical safety.
Right.
And I'd compare him to like one of those big, like a Zdeno Chara, a big sturdy defenseman who was just going to dole out punishment. We were a good tandem.
Absolutely, a good tandem. And then I think somehow it ended with an epic Stanley Cup battle where it was decided that the Red Sox garbage can would be the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Which we would then parade.
Which belonged to Gene.
Right. So we pulled out the game, and we took the Stanley Cup, and we ran up and down the hall with it.
Disappeared for a while,
and then, why don't you finish what happened?
Well, the garbage can was returned to our room, and the Blue Boy had left the present inside it.
Let's just say we didn't drink out of it.
Let's just say that he left a present inside that was something only an animal would have done.
Exactly.
It was something that came from his own body.
Yeah.
And Gene really did not take it well.
No, it was the Red Sox garbage can was a treasured heirloom or artifact.
He brought like 5 things. A Lech Walesa poster. I think he brought a chair. He brought a fan.
Irish flag, I think.
Irish flag, and then this garbage can, which he really liked.
Yeah.
And the Blue Boy
defiled it.
He defiled it and desecrated it.
Right.
And so when we were exchanging emails this week after the Bruins
forward
won,
23 years, yeah.
Yeah, I was texting with the Blue Boy, who's a big Bruins fan, and I mentioned how I can't believe we won the Cup, and I was like, we got to get it to. He's living in Northern California now. We got to get to Northern California so you can take a crap in it, jokingly. So he CCs everybody we went to college with, and is like, "Hey, Gene,"
who he probably hasn't spoken to in about 10 years.
I got to get that cup so I can do my thing. It's just horrible. I think poor Gene has like a real job now. It's probably some experience he blocked out of his mind.
Sure, wife and kids. He's moved on, for sure. But the Blue Boy hasn't.
Still miss college, Johnny.
Me
Not
too.
Gonna lie. Those are great days.
And actually, that email was the only high point for the Bruins winning the Stanley Cup for me. That's the only part about it I enjoyed.
It brought up some residual Whalers bitterness.
Totally.
Plus, you had the Canucks jerseys, which looked a little close to the Whalers.
I know. And, the Mavericks' original colors were green and blue. I was thinking this was like a good omen for the Whale if teams that were green and blue win the championship. But Winnipeg is getting the Jets back, so maybe there's hope for the mighty Whale yet.
I was very excited about Winnipeg getting the Jets back, and we could get to about 10 Canadian teams here pretty comfortably. I
mean, I was rooting for the Canucks because I generally root against Boston teams anyway. And then the other part of it is it's been 17 now, going on 18 years since a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. It's like their religion. I mean, I'm as American as the next guy, but I'd like to see Canada win the Stanley Cup. They've earned it. It's been long enough, don't you think?
Yeah, and I think you could see now the rioting obviously didn't represent the real Vancouver people.
People looking for anything. They would have rioted win or lose or draw, I think,
It was a very small part, but it did kind of show, I think, that that's a country that takes hockey pretty seriously to the point that some people may have crossed the line. I don't know if that happens, and I just don't think there's an American city that cares about hockey as much as that.
No, I don't think if the Nashville Predators go to Game 7 of the Finals, Nashville is really going to react quite that way. They're not really going to feel that strongly about it.
I wouldn't have to worry about my BMW in the street being set on fire.
I think it would be safe. I think you'd be all set there.
I didn't mean to poke fun at the riot footage, but that was the one thing I noticed. Like, this poor guy was like, "Oh, we're late for the game. I'm just going to park here." And then, so long, BMW.
And the amazing thing about it is everybody I know that has ever been to Vancouver is always like, "Oh, Vancouver, it's the most beautiful, cleanest, best city, best run
nicest
city.
people." Yeah,
it's like paradise. It's the greatest thing. So to see that devolve into anarchy is just incredible.
Nash was mad. Nash had a couple tweets.
That's right. He's a Vancouver guy.
Did not like what was going on. Yeah,
did not represent Vancouver well.
I'm of this opinion. It didn't change my opinion on Vancouver at all.
No.
You're going to have a couple dumb people doing dumb things. It doesn't represent the city, I don't think.
Do you know when I knew that Stanley Cup was over? When whichever Sedin it was did the Joe Namath guarantee and then tried to rescind it, backtrack?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. If you're going to make a guarantee, we're going to win this thing, baby. Don't backtrack because no one's ever going to hold you to it.
That was the same guy that... in the previous game, Game 6, Marchand just punched him in the face 4 times with his glove. Just, with like staggered by a second each, and he just kind of stood there. I don't know. It's really hard to rally behind your team when a guy just gets punched like that 4 straight times.
After the initial finger biting incident, and then when they had the dirty hit where the guy got suspended, they just recoiled after that. They just didn't want any part of anything to connect.
Then they had I can't remember his name, number 36 in Game 7. He had total cheap shot hit on a guy who wasn't looking, stick somebody in the nuts, McQuaid, when the ref wasn't looking. Like it was like he's like, oh, I'm gonna fight back if you guys aren't, and he just like totally crossed about 9 lines.
Yeah, took it way too far.
It was like that guy in email who everybody's busting balls, and then the one guy just totally goes way overboard.
Yeah, right. Talking about somebody's dead mother or something.
Yeah. So it.
There was 2 things that hurt Vancouver. The second one was the guy rescinding the guarantee, but the first one was when their goalie Luongo, like he comes out and says, "I took a long walk on the beach to clear my head" or something between games. I mean, come on, Luongo. Oh my God, Vancouver, go down with some dignity. Jeez.
I don't understand how Luongo played in the gold medal game.
Yeah, and was huge.
That you're not going to face more pressure than that.
Right, the whole country was riding on it.
Yeah, that was to me that was a more important game than Game 7 of the Stanley Cup or any of the Stanley Cup final games. I don't know how he became skittish. Maybe just when you're a goalie and things are flying at you all the time, you just kind of lose your mind eventually.
Well, that 24/7 hockey thing before the Capitals-Penguins thing, if it taught us anything, it's that goalies are quirky.
Yeah.
They're like the relief pitchers of hockey, and like they sort of sit apart from the rest of the team, and they're like a little different, a little oddball. So I guess they're just quirky. You don't know what's going on in their head. And Thomas was great. Hot goalie, wins you the cup. And then you get to do with it what the Blue Boy did.
Late bloomer. Good guy.
Tim Thomas, yeah.
Yeah, needs to say resonated with Boston. The overachiever who started his career late, all that stuff, did a nice job.
Yeah.
Johnny, thank you for all the time. I'm glad we caught up. It had been a long time. People have been asking. People can check you out on Twitter on Jacko2323.
Yes.
You can see his angry tweets the next time the Red Sox sweep the Yankees.
Right, which won't be till August, thankfully. I get some little respite.
Enjoy the weekend, buddy. Talk
Thanks.
to you soon.
See ya.
Target % off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.